Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Today, I thought I would take you guys on my journey of buying an original 1978 first-year Les Paul Custom Silverburst from its original owner. I had received a message a few days prior from one of his buddies saying that he was looking to sell this guitar to raise some money for a trip to see his daughter off to the Navy. And since the new Adam Jones Signature Silverburst Les Paul Custom is really close to coming out, I wanted to make a video with an original Silverburst getting my updated B-roll style, that way we can compare them A and B. And having a Silverburst here will also help me in a few other videos that I'm planning. So I hope you enjoyed this interaction with the original owner.
Howdy.
How's it going?
Not bad. I get to meet you in person. So I'm Todd.
Hi, Todd.
That's Harley. That's Chloe. And the guy right there is Juice, the dog. We'll leave it here. You want to crack it open and take it?
Cool, yeah. Check it out. So you're the original owner then?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
I've had it since my mom got it for me when I was young. I played in bands for years. Played a lot of shows. It's been sitting in the case for the last 10 years probably. I got it when I was 10 years old. My mom bought it for me from a birthday. I like Kiss and stuff like that, so I got that. That was what she picked out, and I played it for the first, all the years actually. I had my album and everything, but on stage I played my other ones and tried to keep this one from getting damaged, you know.
Yep.
I got the original pickups to it. There's only one change, and the other one's in the case. There's only pictures and stuff in there I had to take out of there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The original receipts in there, obviously, too.
Yeah.
And you said you wanted these photos back.
Yeah, they was my kids. I just didn't get to do it all. Like I said, it's been sitting in my room. And he said he could sell it, and I needed the money bad right now. So, yeah, it's all my kids.
I think you said you wanted to say goodbye to your daughter to the Navy or something like that. Is that what it was?
Yeah, she's gone. Yeah, she's going. She's actually graduated this year. Crazy year to graduate too.
Oh yeah.
I've been raising her since she was 6. It's been 10 years, you know, by myself. Yeah.
Ticket stub.
Ticket stub for something.
Yeah, that was one of my shows.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that thing. It used so heavy as you feel the weight on stage when you be banging with it, man. It gets bouncing, and I had to buy lock straps before.
Yep.
The locks, and even they gave it. I had Dunlaps. I've had different ones. They wear out because it's so heavy. But yeah, it's a beautiful guitar.
Definitely. It's got that alien green vibe going on to it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
This guy's pretty much the expert on these guitars.
That's cool.
That's why you were the only one I contacted.
Oh yeah.
He knows.
Oh, apparently.
Oops.
Yeah, that's funny because I don't know if you know who AC Slade is. He's the guitar player for Dope. Used to be a guitar player for Joan Jett. And he's the rhythm guitar player for the Misfits. I posted that I was selling this to you, and he's like, "Dude, I totally would have sold my kidney to buy that. That is the guitar I want." And I was like, "Well."
Yeah, I've been looking for one of these because that new Adam Jones signature is coming out, and I wanted to, have it, A and B for that video. Now it looks like you might have had like a small sticker right here at one point in time.
I had a couple stickers, even on the back side. I had did some airbrushing of my daughter's names, which I didn't finish wiping off just because it's sentimental, but you can. It wipes off. It's just model paint.
Gotcha.
But I just did it for that reason, and when I had my babies, and all my songs was based on my kids and going through hard times trying to raise them,
God, yeah. Do you know what that sticker was?
Yeah, it was tattooed white trash. I got it.
Yeah.
That's what it said right there.
Yeah, I actually got that picture because you first sent it to me in Messenger.
Heck yeah.
Because 78, that's actually the very first year of this finish outside of prototypes.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is actually a pretty rare guitar just in itself.
Exactly. They made it. We bought it like a month after it was made. Right after it was made, my mom bought it.
Yeah, because you were, what, 9, right?
Going on 10, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
what
an
a cool
awesome
mom to get her 9-year-old I mean, the top of the line guitar pretty much for 78.
Yeah, my mom's that way.
Because just give me 200 for it.
And that's how I got this awesome guitar for only 200 bucks. Nah, just kidding. That was an excerpt from a different story he was telling me. You got any other stories for it here?
Yeah, I almost lost it in a racquetball game against Will Ferrell. You might have heard of Zach Farrell's. You check him out online. His dad. We used to play racquetball together, and I taught him how to play. and I bet him the guitar against another acoustic 69 Gibson that he had. And we was betting him up, and I lost, and he had it for a minute, and I luckily got it back.
He decided not to take it.
You know, so yeah, it was, I almost got lost playing racquetball. Thought I was the man, you know. It's only looking at dust because it ain't been touched. So because I'm putting some things down.
That was a fun little meetup, so I handed him the money. We took a few photos together for his sentimental reasons, saying goodbye to his original guitar, and then I took it home to take a deeper look at this thing. Back home at the workbench, the first thing I saw this thing needed was a truss rod adjustment. The neck had a huge bow in it because it hadn't been played for 10 years, and obviously these rusty old strings needed changed as well. But next, I could not get that bridge off at all. It was like cemented to it, so I eventually just had to take the studs out. But the whole guitar was just dusty, it has a smoke odor to it, it just needed a little bit of TLC. So I went with my Virtuoso polish and cleaner all over this entire guitar to restore it back to its original luster. All said and done, this sped up footage spanned 4 hours. And even though it's definitely not any type of case queen, I think it was worth it. The next thing that I really noticed about this thing is the fretboard was so dark, and normally you can tell when somebody's played a guitar a lot because their oils in their hands absorb into the fretboard. It just kind of gives it a natural, freshly oiled look. But that also told me, yeah, this fretboard's pretty dirty, so I did my standard cleaning here, polished those rusty frets up, and then did a lemon oil treatment here. So this is definitely a nice, clean, and fresh looking board now. Next up, we moved on to the headstock to clean this one up and tighten the tuners up. Surprisingly, they actually didn't need any tightening. Then the next thing we had to do is replace that pickup because even though it has kind of a cool Adam Jones vibe to it, since I have the original pickup, I would much rather have the original one in here. Now looking inside this control cavity, you can tell there's been a bunch of different pickups in here. So I attempted to clean up the solder work, but I mean, I didn't really have much luck with that. I didn't have the right tools and materials on me at this time, so I just put the original T-top back in and used that original ring. Two conductor pickup swaps are pretty easy. And then he was telling me that the strap locks would occasionally give out, so I decided to restore this with some original style Gibson strap buttons on here and polish up the rest of this guitar. Normally I don't polish the back of guitars or the sides, but this one, it was kind of a special exception. One of the best feelings you could do is polish up a neck because it restores it from that kind of sticky feeling all the way to that glossy, silky smooth. Decided to clean up those tuners too because, well, I mean, we're cleaning everything else up. And make sure that serial number is nice and shiny. The main reason why I don't polish the sides of instruments is mainly because it's very inconvenient and hard to do. At least that StewMac rest made it a little bit easier. And here comes those brand new Gibson strap buttons. Then I didn't film this part, but I took all the parts off and also washed those, so they'll still have a nice vintage look to them, but they won't feel grimy. Now that we've got it all cleaned up, let's go ahead and take a look inside this thing. So our pickups are now restored back to the original T-tops. It looks like the date stamp says July 10th of 1978. And then this one I can't quite make out the stamper, even if there is one. But a 1978 Les Paul Custom will have a short neck tenon, and will have a maple top on top of a solid mahogany body. I did find one modification in here. At one point in time, somebody added a ground wire. Because typically in this era, they'll use these metal shielding tins, so that's been removed and a traditional ground wire has been added, so you don't really need one of those anymore, so I didn't bother restoring that. This bridge pickup ring, it's pretty distorted, but it still does the job. But somebody did replace these two height adjustment screws because they're flatheads instead of the Phillips. The bridge, man, this thing took forever to get off. 1 hour is how long it took me soaking this thing and trying to get those posts off of it. But I finally did, and it is the original made in Germany Schaller part. But it looks like it's a little bit collapsed, so if you're going to seriously play this guitar, you might want to consider replacing this. I mean, it's pretty pitted anyways, but it does the job for now. I at least made it so you can get it on and off fairly easily. And our tailpiece here, it's got a little bit of pitting to it as well, but it is the original one. And you always got to be careful in this era. A lot of people like to route these things for Kahlers, so you have to look for the ghosting lines of somebody filling it in and then refinishing it. The witness lines will actually look very similar to this, but this is just a sticker residue part, so that's just kind of part of this guitar's history. I mean, this thing polished up real nicely. The switch tip on this, it kind of made me chuckle. It's a Stratocaster style switch tip, but they just kind of modified it so it would work on a Les Paul. I went ahead and restored that to what would have originally came on this. Some of them have black switch tips, other ones have cream. I'm a real fan of that cream one, but you can see some light impressions here, and you can see some sort of like a scratch right here. But if you look in the light just right, you can actually tell this is a 3-piece maple top. You can kind of see the line. Yeah, there it is right there, running right in between the controls. It's not separating or anything, it's just, once again, one of those witness lines. But for being a road dog, he did take pretty good care of it. I mean, we've got some light nicks and dings. And depending on your viewing angle, you can see kind of a deeper scratch right there. But take a look at these beautifully aged knobs. Those are pretty cool. And this aged pretty evenly, even underneath the pickguard. You can see where the bracket's kind of impressed into the finish if you wanted to take it off. Within the circuit, the bridge pickup reads 7.53 k ohms, middle position 3.75, and what do we got in the neck? 7.47. Moving on from the mahogany body maple top, we have a maple neck on these guys with an ebony fretboard, 22 frets with mother of pearl block inlays, standard 12-inch radius as well. I was surprised to not see tons of wear and tear on these frets. Now in the kind of the cowboy chord areas, you can see that there's some light impressions and divoting. You could definitely level and recrown those out, but I think we're probably just going to be okay just as is on this one. But these mother of pearl blocks, I really like the way they move in the light. We have a 1.69-inch nut width, which increases to 2.04 by the 12th. First fret neck depth, 0.83, and by the 12th you're looking at 0.95. As far as the face of the headstock goes, there you can see our maple neck and has some sort of writing in it, but our truss rod is in fantastic shape. Honestly, it still had paint over top of it like it had never been adjusted its entire time. Golden lacquer over top of here, and there is like a couple of stray finish checking lines just over that center portion, so this is not 100% free of finish checking. But for the most part, you don't see a lot to it, but you definitely have some nicks and dings up here. And the truss rod cover just reads Les Paul Custom. Moving on to the back, no buckle rash really ruining anything, but you do have some worming marks right here. But thankfully did not break the finish or anything, but you've got some nicks and dings. This thing was definitely used. Said he tried to take the best care of it as he could, and that's kind of what the condition is showing me. Like, it wasn't babied, but it was still used. And apparently he had quite a few different pickups in this thing over the years. During my playing demo, I was like, oh no, something is not right here. So I took that old bridge pickup out, right, and then I put the new bridge pickup in. But something else has happened here because I put it right there. And if you flip it around, you're going to notice that's for the neck control. The 3-way toggle switch is actually standard, so bridge will select the bridge, neck will select the neck. But the controls were reversed. Normally these control the bridge, but they were controlling the neck and vice versa here. But unfortunately, when I went to fix it, I realized this lead is actually too short to swap those around. So I could splice it, but I think I'll just leave that be one of those magical things that the original owner had it set as. But it is still the original pots dating to 1978. This was kind of a tough decision for me to remove those names off this back plate, but it really only means something for the original owner. But even though they've been removed, if you get it in the light just right, you can still see that little piece of history on this guitar, so that's a little bit of a cool Easter egg. Same thing on this one. And for full disclosure, these two screws have been replaced. Now the neck, I was a little bit disappointed when I saw this because I had kind of asked if there was any neck wear, because that's one thing that I hate about Silver Bursts is the finish comes off, but at least it's on the treble side and you don't see it while you're playing at all. So this side's perfectly fine. You just got a little bit right here. Now, I could touch that up with a black lacquer pen, but it's not going to look good, so I just let that be. And there's an area right here where something took the finish off in like a scratching line. Now, that would probably look okay if I touched it up, but I'm not going to touch this one. And if you're curious what this is a stand rash mark. It kind of just blends in with that green finish, though. If you look down here along the bottom of the guitar, you can also see some other stand rash marks. But other than just a few very minor impressions, you're actually pretty good on this one. There is a small finish check line stemming between these two tuners, but thankfully no breaks, cracks, or repairs. Small ding, and here's our serial number, 1978, 222nd day of the year. This is the very first year of the Silverburst Custom outside of the prototypes. There is at least one 1977 Silverburst out there. The only one that's ever shown up actually doesn't even have a bursted back. It's just completely black and has the burst on the front. Looking around the edges, you've got the wide binding in the cutaway. You actually do have some light finish checking right there that kind of plays peekaboo. And just some light average wear and tear. And it is the original frets, but there are a couple fret nibs that are a little bit chipped. Here's another good look at those stand rash marks. And on the side that you'll see while you're playing, you're going to be curious, what is that? Is that a crack? What that is the binding actually ends a little bit further down than the paint shows. So that is a witness line of that, and then the finish has kind of just been chipped by playing. So that's not going to cause you any issues, but it is there, and it's a little bit of a cosmetic eyesore. This example weighs 10 pounds, 5.2 ounces, which is about average for this era. Let's go ahead, plug it in, and hear how this thing sounds. Now that we know all about this Gibson Les Paul Custom and Silverburst, what are my final thoughts on this thing? Silverburst is such a cool finish, and it's really heavily associated with Adam Jones of Tool, but when I first fell in love with this guitar and color, it had nothing to do with him. I just happened to like this because green and black are my favorite colors, so naturally when one of these things ages, it happens to be that. I remember my first Les Paul, the very first one I got, was a brand new Les Paul Custom Silverburst. And all the guys at Guitar Center were like, you must be a Tool fan. I was like, well, I've heard some Guitar Hero songs of them, but I didn't know anything about that. So I had a great time meeting the original owner of this one and checking out this very rare first year example of this really cool guitar. And even though Adam kind of started some rumors about these things having a magical tone to them, I don't know if I 100% believe it, but this finish does inspire you to play differently. I always play dark sounding stuff on these guitars because that's what it tells me to play. This one just loves to do that really long, sustained, keep ringing forever type stuff that's in a lot of Tool songs. So naturally, yeah, I wanted to play some of that. But it was definitely great to have a Silverburst again. It's been too long, and this one has aged perfectly. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this with me today. Only one thing left to do. Check it out under Blacklight. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to see what we're gonna find here. Wow, that is a glowing guitar here. I'm surprised. You can definitely see that sticker shadow right there a little bit more, and you can see where the clear coat has worn just a hair by that toggle switch. A little bit of sweat absorption in this area. Here you can see those stand marks that we were talking about earlier, but that one's looking really clean on the front. Let's check this headstock out. Yep, that one's also looking pretty good. The back, nothing too crazy here. No breaks, cracks, or repairs. Now, this kind of helps you show some other areas that he was in. So it looks like he played right here a lot, right there. So he came close to wearing through the paint on the side that you see, but that's the only area that went through the finish, and you get a little bit more clear coat wear there. But this neck feels like brand new. I mean, you definitely don't tell that the finish is missing there. And then whatever scraped the finish off there, I'm really not sure what that would have been. So everything is looking good here. Let's take a look at that binding area. Kind of hard to even see there, but yeah. Thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning into today's episode. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because I will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.